My name is Bobby Bartlett. I'm a resident of Germantown, Maryland, Legislative District 39. I've come here today in support of HJ6 to talk a little bit about the cost of corruption to myself, which is seen throughout the nation. One of the biggest sources of our nation's out-of-control healthcare costs is the cost of pharmaceuticals. Personally, I'm afflicted with psoriasis and was recently prescribed a drug called Otezla, which is priced at $2,944 for a month's supply. If I were British, the exact same treatment would be available through the UK's National Health Service at around $670 per month, a discrepancy that would cost me or my insurer or the taxpayers over $27,000 more per year to take this treatment in the United States. So how did we get to this situation? For one thing, it's illegal for Medicare, obviously one of the single largest purchasers of drugs in the U.S., and of course one that's fully taxpayer funded, to negotiate prices on drugs. Not long ago, I was selling cars for a living, and if it were illegal for my customers to negotiate down from the MSRP on an Accord, I would probably still be selling cars. We find ourselves in this sad state of affairs because the pharmaceutical industry has spent over $2.4 billion on lobbying Congress over the last 10 years and another $205 million in contributions to campaigns and super PACs over the same time period. The phenomenon is hardly an outlier unique to this industry, which is actually ranked around 18th in terms of industry's generosity towards political campaigns over the last decade. And to be clear, when I speak of corruption, this is not the corruption of evil men with briefcases full of cash exchanged in a dark alley. Everything I've described is perfectly legal and a consequence of the corrupt system in which our hardworking and well-intentioned representatives find themselves. It's become very expensive to win political office, and our elected officials need to win in order to enact their great plans and make a more prosperous and just society. So if they can get $500,000 in a bundled contributions from a lobbyist, that means less time they have to spend banging away on a phone, begging for donations, which is humiliating, and more time to go out and serve voters. The problem is that their lifestyle and big plans for a better future become dependent on receiving those contributions each cycle, and so, through no deliberate thought of their own, usually, they will go out of their way not to upset or hurt the interests of those contributors. There's very little we can do about the demand for money in political campaigns. However, we have a number of options that can impact the supply. By passing HJ6 and with the constitutional amendment it prescribes, we will broaden those options. We need a constitutional amendment that makes explicit that money is not a form of speech because it can only be exercised by the wealthy to increase their power.